Hey guys, Sarah here from Recovering Book Hoarder, and today is Saturday for me, Sunday for you guys, and I'm back with my weekly chat. I was absent last week for several reasons, most of which is because I thought I gave myself enough time to get some homemade Christmas gifts done. And I'm starting to feel the pressure. So I've been working on those pretty steady. My room's a hot mess right now, and to be honest, I'm kind of a hot mess also, which we will talk about. So first, okay, it is after Thanksgiving, so that means full speed ahead for Christmas now. Okay, so let me show you guys my mug for today. So this is my mug, and I love gnomes. Gnomes are one of my favorite things. And this is a gigantic cup. To give you a concept of size, I made this in my Keurig. I always do the, I guess it would be like a 12-ounce coffee. And this is about half full, maybe not even half full. So it's really a huge mug, but I absolutely love it. It's that like pottery style, hand painted, and it was from Marshall's, and I believe I got it for $4.99, and you really cannot beat that. Rocking the Christmas shirt here. My mom had got me this last year, and I really love it a lot. Nice and Christmassy, and also because I've got like major sensory issues when it comes to like clothing textures. Super soft. This is like my ideal kind of shirt. So rocking the shirt. Our goal was to get our tree up. My husband always puts our tree up on the night before Thanksgiving so that it's ready for us to decorate either Thanksgiving evening or the following day. Well, we had, lo and behold, some light issues with our pre-lit tree. And so my daughter has her own full-size tree up on our second floor, and she keeps it up all year round. Well, lights are not meant to be on that much. Not that they're on all day, but the amount that they were like on a timer. All but the very bottom had burned out. So my husband spent hours getting those lights that came on the tree off so that we could replace those lights, just put on regular lights. So he gets that done, comes down, puts up our tree. Lo and behold, and our tree's only about 2 years old, a ton of the lights were out on that tree too. He tried changing fuses, all kinds of stuff. And then he was at the point where he was like, I just spent hours getting all of because I don't know if you've ever tried to get the pre-lit lights that come with the tree. I don't know if you've ever tried to get those off of a tree or not, but they are on there so that they don't come off. And it is not an easy process. He was like, I can't do this again. So he said, you either need to decide if you want to just have me lay lights over top of these ones, or if we should just go ahead and get a new one. So I was able to find a new tree through Walmart on sale for, I think it was like $100, and we went ahead and got that. So he got that. He didn't pick that up till yesterday, which was Friday, after work. And then according to all the reviews, it takes about 24 hours for the tree to like settle in before you should fluff it. So today we are actually going to do the tree later on because Cass and I are going up to Robinson today, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, and really the only decorating I do for the most part, I have a couple things here and there, but it's pretty much just the tree because I'm a terrible Christmas decorator. I don't love most of the Christmas things that I have. And really it just looks like Christmas threw up when I'm done with it. So I don't do a whole lot. I really wish I had a nativity. I have like half of a nativity. My ex-mother-in-law, who is just an amazing, amazing woman, she had started me a Lennox nativity. And so I had gotten 2 sets from that before my ex-husband and I had gotten a divorce, and so obviously I didn't keep getting those. So I have like a portion of a nativity, and poor little Jesus is his hand has broken since then. But no idea like where it broke to, so I couldn't even glue it on. And in any case, I'm not the best decorator. I did not get that gene. And I gotta say, it totally skipped me because my mom and her sister, my Aunt Sherry, are just amazing decorators. So I don't know what happened to me. So yeah, so okay, full speed ahead with Christmas, full on with the Christmas music. My husband can't say anything. So, all right. Part of why I was not here last week had to do with my mental health. So let's have a frank mental health discussion. I know that some people may say that I'm too open about my mental health. I'm very honest about my mental health. And I think a big part of that is I want to destigmatize mental health. And as a director of a mental health agency, I know how stigmatizing certain people can feel that mental health issues are. So I just like to be frank and open. There is, a lot of people have mental health issues, the whole gamut. So I have been having an absolute horrible time with my depression and my anxiety, and to the point where it's like affecting pretty much every aspect of my life. So I had an appointment with my PCP because I needed him to start doing my prescribing, and I failed my depression scale miserably. And so we talked about the medication that I was on. So I was on Cymbalta and Vistral, which honestly, Vistral is just like, it's essentially Benadryl, and was doing nothing for me. The Vistral was helping me, was putting me to sleep at night, but as far as like my day-to-day anxiety, it wasn't really doing anything. The Cymbalta was helping in the sense of like, I didn't feel like I was going to have to be hospitalized anymore for my depression and anxiety, and I could get up and go to work and things like that. But it's still bad. Like, it took the edge off, but it didn't put me back to a baseline or back to normal in any way, shape, or form. Now, I should say my depression is not situational. My anxiety is not situational. They're very generalized. I truly feel that, so whenever I was younger, I was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 15. It was 4 months before my 16th birthday. I was devastated because it meant I had to delay getting my driver's license. That was like all I cared about, because you're 15. That's like what you're looking forward to. And at that point, I had to be put on medication, and I was put on Depakote. And I think that was all. To start out, I was put on Depakote. And I eventually got to the point where I was on 2,500 milligrams of Depakote a day. And anyone that's familiar with Depakote would know that, number one, Depakote's not even something that they give to females anymore that are in their reproductive years, because it can cause severe, severe birth defects if you happen to get pregnant when you're on Depakote, which I did not, but still, it's a very powerful drug. And I know people that it's done wonders for. I have a cousin that's on Depakote. It's a male, and he swears by it. For me, I wasn't so lucky. I had pretty much every horrific side effect that you could think of. And when I went on the Depakote is really when I started having major issues with depression, to the point where like I didn't want to get out of bed. I have major holes in my memory from that time period. And I was on that until eventually I literally became toxic from the medication. So I came off of the Depakote, and it was, let me see. So I started on it when I was 15, worked my way up to 2,500 milligrams of Depakote a day, and finally came off of it, I want to say my freshman year of college. So I was like 18, 19 years old. And my mom was like, you have got to tell the doctor what's going on. Like, you're not doing well. I gained massive amounts of weight. It was bad altogether. And discovered I became toxic when I literally started having hallucinations. Like, not just seeing hallucinations, but hallucinations where it felt like people were touching me. It was terrible. So they finally took me off of that, and they put me on to Lamictal. And the Lamictal was so much better in regards to side effects. Then I had the thing that I didn't realize was the Lamictal caused horrific migraines, but I didn't make that connection until I came off of the Lamictal. So in my eyes, I was really having no side effects from Lamictal, but I was having this horrible, I was getting these terrible migraines to where like I would have to go to the ER. I would have them for 2 weeks. I'd have to get a shot of Toradol. I was prescribed Reglan, which again is like a pretty major, it can cause something called tardive dyskinesia. These were all like major prescriptions. All right. That's all. Whenever people, like, I find out that people are addicted to prescription medication, I'm like, I have never had a good experience with prescription medications, like, ever. I don't know why people would do that for fun. So I was seeing a neurologist. I had not experienced a seizure since my freshman year of college, but I wanted to try and take care of these migraines and the epilepsy like at the same time. So there's a drug called Topamax. I had to go on a pretty high dosage to be able to come on. I was like, I really would like to just take one drug to manage everything. And I was seeing a therapist at the time, and my personality became pretty erratic. And it was at the point where my brother was like, well, I can't be around you. Like, I was so all over the place. And came to find out with my therapist when I went in, she's like, you're manic right now. Let's talk about what's going on. And lo and behold, that medication, I was on a significant amount of it, and I had like medicinally induced bipolar. And at that point, I was just in my wit's end. I was like, I'm so over all of this. It's been, several years now since I've had any issues with the epilepsy. When I was initially diagnosed with the epilepsy, my neurologist had said, there's a very good chance, it was junior myoclonic epilepsy, JME is what they call it. He said, there's a very, very good chance that you're going to grow out of this. It was genetic. We were able to identify family members that we think had it, and they had all grown out of it. Then that doctor had gone on to a different job, and the doctor that I was seeing then after that, sorry, I need to turn my phone down. He told me, he said, no, you're never going to grow out of this. And I was depressed about that. It's just like all these terrible things. So, 25, I'm seeing a different doctor now because I was living in a different area. And I was just at my wit's end. My everyday life was being affected from changing medication so much. I would have to stop driving for 6 months at a time till the medication would get regulated. It was crazy. So I sent a letter to my doctor, and I was like, I said, I'll do whatever it takes to try and figure out whether or not I need to continue on this medication, whatever it takes. So he said, all right, let's do a week-long stay at Presby Hospital, which is one of our hospitals here in Pittsburgh. So I got checked in, hooked up to electrodes for a full week, 24 hours a day. I had neuropsychological testing done while I was in there. I was on video 24 hours a day. The whole thing. And they stopped my medication cold turkey. And when they stopped that medication, once it was out of my system, I felt like I could focus again. You don't realize how bad things are until you feel it, again afterwards. So I was able to focus again. My brain felt quiet. And it was an amazing feeling. The testing came back showing that what they said was, if you were to hook up the entire American population and do the same testing on them, 75% of them would exhibit the same amount of seizure activity that your brain is exhibiting. And it was it would be like little blips that were less than a second that they would catch on the EEG. So what they had said to me was, we can cut you back to just a very, very low dose of the Lamictal. And if you don't have any kind of breakthrough seizures for a year, then you can come off your medication altogether. And so that was at age 25, which is right around the age that they told me I would grow out of it if I did. And so I was able to come off all of my medication at 26. Now, that's wonderful. That's fabulous. But when you're on that type of medication, it is major medication. It is medications that are typically used, that yes, they're used for seizures, but they're also very common treatments for bipolar disorder and other types of mental illness. And I truly feel like being on that amount of medication for that time, it messes with your brain chemistry. And my brain has never been the same as it was pre-Depakote. And it just does not make all of the chemicals that it needs to for me to fully function on my own. And I have gone through periods where I'm doing very well on the medication. I'm like, I'm doing great, so I think I can stop. it's always a mistake. And I'll do real well for a while, but then like things go downhill again. So anyway, several months, I had not been on any antidepressants, any anti-anxiety, anything. It had been several years. I had my pretty much breakdown at work, and I was like, I have to take time off and everything. And at that point, that's whenever I was put onto the Cymbalta, which I had been on previously, and then the Vestral, which I had not been on previously. So that's the background. So go to my PCP. Explain that, like, yes, it's helped, but not, like, I'm still not anywhere close to full emotional functioning at this point. So decided to switch things up. So stop the Cymbalta and the Vestral. Thank goodness. Seriously, the Vestral is like, it's pointless. My personal opinion. If you are on it and it works for you, good for you. That's wonderful. It did nothing for me. So stop that and instead put me on Wellbutrin and then Seroquel at night. And so I have this halo that I've started using, and so it measures my sleep. And my sleep prior to going on the Seroquel, I was getting, like you get a sleep score, was like 70%. And the goal is for you to be at like 85 to 90%, I think is what it is. And I'm now pretty consistently hitting 90% or above for my sleep score. But the other thing I've noticed with this halo is it judges like how long you're in each of the stages of sleep. And for you to be healthy, you're supposed to be between 20 and 25% of REM. You're not supposed to have more REM. If you have more REM, then your brain does not get it can't repair the way that it's supposed to at night, and it adds to increased depression and anxiety. Well, I have come to find out with this that my REM is sometimes 45-50% of my night. And I have an amazing sleep life. Like, I love dreaming. I think it's amazing. It's wonderful. But it sounds like that may actually be lending to my depression and anxiety. Now, I listen to things to sleep. Like, I listen to things the whole time I'm sleeping. So tonight, I'm going to experiment, and I'm not going to listen to anything while I'm sleeping and see if that changes and my REM goes down. We'll see. Just a theory. Okay, so started the new medication. Now, when you come off of like Cymbalta, I know Cymbalta and Prozac for sure because it's been my experience and I've had it. You have you can go through something called withdrawal syndrome. And it's not pleasant. You get these, it feels like zaps. They're actually described as brain zaps. And every time I move my eyes, I get those. It's like a zap that goes from the head, from like the top of your head down. And I have pretty much been walking around in a state that makes me feel like I am stoned out of my mind. And this can last anywhere from 1 to 6 weeks. I was on a lower dosage of Cymbalta, so I'm really hoping it does not last 6 weeks because I'm functioning is not easy. It's better in the morning for some reason, and then as the day goes on, it gets progressively worse. I was trying to explain it to my husband, and I'm like, picture like getting pretty drunk, and then that feeling you have when you close your eyes. That's the feeling that I have like all the time right now. And I don't like it. it makes it really, really hard to function. But at the same time, I am starting to feel the effects of that Wellbutrin. There's somewhat of a stimulant in Wellbutrin, and I've definitely had more energy, where I would be probably normal energy for most people. Like I was talking to my friend last night, and she was like, are you having that crazy Wellbutrin where you're like, oh, because of the stimulant? And I said, no, for me, the low was so low and my energy was so low that I think this has brought me back to more of what would be like a baseline for a normal person. I just can like get up and move and do things like a normal person would. I use that word normal like very loosely. In any case, that's really like a big piece of last week, and that's why you didn't see much from me. The only video you saw from me last week had been a pre-recorded from several weeks ago. My brain's not like having a hard time working right now, and it's making thinking not easy. Like I was trying to order at a restaurant last night, and I'm like, chicken, it's something with chicken. Tell me what the chicken options are, because I was like trying to order for my dog. Could not remember the word hash brown, could not remember the word. It was just terrible. Anyway. Okay. So that's like the biggest thing that's been going on with me is that mental health. And so listen, if you're a person who also has mental health issues, please, 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 sometimes it comes down to brain chemicals. A lot of times it comes down to the chemicals in your brain. And I think everybody should have a therapist. I have someone that I talk to typically once a week, sometimes every other week. And I feel like everybody should have a therapist. They have to listen to you. It's a beautiful thing. I've learned amazing strategies. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is an amazing thing. I use that in my day-to-day life. Like I can be quite catastrophic in my thinking, but with CBT, I am able to like think through that rationally and bring myself back to like, okay, this is feeling wise, this is what you think is going to happen, but rationally, this is what's true. So, yeah, if you're having mental health issues, I strongly encourage you to seek the help that you need. Do not be ashamed in any way, shape, or form. This life is hard. Like, seriously. Sorry, my daughter interrupted. So, yeah. Don't be ashamed. Take care of yourself. This life is hard. It's just hard. Spiritually, it's hard. It can be oppressive. And sometimes we just need some help. That's what I have to say about mental health. All right. So that was the big thing going on. So I've had some other things. So let's see here. I tried to make myself some notes in my planner. So I remember what's been going on. All right, since we talked last, so my niece did spend the night. I had talked to you guys, told you that she was going to be spending the night. So we had a great night. She's such a good child. Like, she is just the best personality. She's very quiet. Her and her sister are complete opposites. Ava's the older one, Livy's the younger one. And Ava's very, she wants to be like your classic princess. So smart. Like, I super duper smart. Her fine motor skills are phenomenal. Like, very attention to detail. She's 4 years old. The attention to detail is crazy. She's lovey. She cuddles. She's amazing. And then there's Livy, who's equally amazing, but literally the complete opposite. Livy is, I think my nickname for her is going to be Tornado. She is like a little tornado that comes in and just like, she wants to be a princess, but she wants to be the princess that's wearing tennis shoes and, like crazy hair. That's crazy accessories. That's Livy. So in any case, so I had Ava. Livy had spent the night at her other grandparents' house, and so Ava came over, and then I took her and Cassidy as part of their Christmas gifts to see Descendants the musical, and it was put on by Lincoln Park, which is our local school for the performing arts, and it was okay. Now I have to say the the woman who played, not woman, it was a girl, young lady. The young lady who played Maleficent was amazing. Like that, she has a career. She's going to do amazing things. I would have never guessed she was in high school. Like, that's how phenomenal she was. Like, her acting was spot on. Her singing was spot on. The look was spot on. The attitude was spot on. Head to toe, perfection. The thing about Descendants is those characters, like Mal, Evie, the four main characters, they have an attitude, okay? And so I don't care how good of an actor you are or how great your singing is, if you cannot convey that attitude that those characters have, it's not going to be as enjoyable as someone that has that. It was just like this internal thing. So it was good, but I wouldn't go see it again, and Cass was pretty disappointed with it. Ava really loved it though. So that was fun. So we did that last Sunday and 2 Sundays ago. So when was that? That would have been on November 14th. It's been a long time since I've talked to you guys. All right. So then that next week I focused on getting things wrapped in my house. All the Christmas gifts here wrapped. And I had to put together Cassidy's advent calendar. So Cassidy tasked me this year. We're real big on advent calendars in my house. Last year, for the first time, I did a homemade one because I just couldn't find one for her that I felt was worth the money and that she would like everything in. So I put together my own. And that was good. This year, we looked for one, couldn't find one that she really liked. And I said, look, I can do the same thing again this year. I can make you one. She said, okay, let's do that, but I want to give you a theme. I said, okay, themes are good. I can work around a theme. She said, I challenge you to create an advent calendar that is 100% around the theme of teddy bears. She said teddy bear clothes, teddy bear earrings, teddy bear, anything that you can think of, like, but with a teddy bear twist. Wow. So that's what I did. These are not, there were some small things, but if that theme, it wasn't all small things. So it literally takes up, this is a picture of it. This is Cassidy's advent calendar. So I made every single one of these bags, and we do 25 days. So every single one of these, I made these bags and then put them in. It took me quite a while. So I did that, and then I think the following day too, then wrapped all of the gifts. So, and then it's been easy because as other things come in, I just immediately wrap them. And so much further ahead than I was last year in regards to preparation, getting things wrapped. So that was Saturday and Sunday. We were supposed to have Cassidy's Christmas pictures last week, but the weather was bad and it was supposed to be outside. So those got rescheduled to tomorrow. So we did not have the Christmas pictures last week. Part of the reason I didn't tape last week was because I've been working on these Christmas. Guys, I just have to show you. I know this is not like my dedicated positive time. I just have to show you what I've done though, because guys, it's so fun. So I wanted to make ornaments for my administrative staff at work. And these 3 will work for ornaments. But I can't like do the same thing over and over again. So everybody's needs to be different because otherwise I get bored while I'm stitching. So here's Megan's little Santa Claus. Super cute. There's supposed to be French knots in these too, but I hated them and took them out. So then I learned. And so then I did. So that was the first one I did. Then I did this one for Stacy. Isn't he cute? I love him. And then this one I did. Finished yesterday. That is Janet's. So those are of a perfect size for an ornament. Then I was like, I need some more. So I bought these gnome guys, not realizing quite how large they were going to be. And so these are going to have to be like small wall hangings as opposed to ornaments. But they still, guys, they turned out so cute. I'm so happy with them. All right, so let's go through them. So this one is for my nurse, Jen. And then this one is for Linda. Like I said, guys, I love gnomes. Christmas gnomes are like my thing. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is like sparkly. This one's for Brooke. Sparkly Ada. And so it looks like snow. And then that's what Amanda's. Aren't those so cute? So I was like obsessively stitching. I still have 3 more that I need to finish, and those ones are even more personalized than these. So I am working on Taylor's, and then I need to do Jackie and Haley's. But I just had to show those to you guys. So Cass and I are going out today, and one of the things I'm going to be doing is buying the stuff for finishing these. So hopefully I can show you those once they're all put together and like how they are supposed to look. So that's all my stitchy goodness. And that's been my focus, like, completely. All right. So then I worked through Wednesday, went and did some shopping, left work, went and did some shopping, some more shopping, because I still have some little things I need to get. And then Thanksgiving this year was very different. For the first time ever, just the 3 of us, me, Brian, and Cassidy, were together, just the 3 of us, all day long for Christmas, because there's illnesses in my parents' house, and you know, my brother and stuff lives there too. So they like put together in a big old tote for me food to go pick up, and then it was like curbside. Brought it back and had dinner with just Cassidy and Brian and I, and then decided we were going to do a family game night. No electronics. We have so many board games in our house, because my husband and I were like huge into board games before we had Cass. So we decided to play for the first time Millennial Monopoly. And we've got about 1 million Monopoly games. We've got Zelda Monopoly, Mario Monopoly, we have Stranger Things Monopoly, we've got Grateful Dead, Star Wars, Wizard of Oz, and I'm probably missing something. We've got lots of Monopolies. This Millennial Monopoly my husband got for $5, and it was worth every single penny. So you don't play for properties in this, you are playing for experience, to earn experiences. So, for example, some of the experiences: week-long meditation retreat, 3-day music festival, makerspace, national park, yoga studio, karaoke club, artisanal coffee bar, tarot shop, vegan bistro. Like, it's cool. And so the nice part is it still takes some time to play, but it doesn't take nearly as long as normal Monopoly takes. So we had a really good time with this. My husband killed us. We always say, my husband has changed the name to all games to Screw Terra, because he like generally beats me. So when I do beat him, I'm like, I really rub it in his face. But he beat us both for this. But we had such a good time that we said, okay, we're going to start doing this once a week. For 3 weeks out of each month, we'll alternate with who picks the game. So Cassidy gets to pick next one, then Brian pick this one, Cass will pick next time, and then I'll pick next time. Then we'll have a week off, then we'll do that, which I think is going to be a great thing. And it can't be electronic games, has to be board games. So yeah, so we did that. That was great fun, lots of laughing. It was just fantastic. So did that. Then Brian, well, I'll show you that. I have some stuff that I bought. I'll show you in a little bit here. Okay, so yesterday, my friend Val and I, who I have not seen in forever, it's been like, I'm trying to think. We had plans to get together at one point, and that fell through due to illness. I have not seen her in forever. And so last night, my mom and I were supposed to go to this local it's a local theater, and they were doing local comedians. And so we had tickets for that, and my mom's sick, so she said, hey, do you think Val would maybe want to go with you? So yes, Val was all in, which is fabulous. And we had the best time. All the comedians were funny, but the last one was so funny, I was literally like crying. I was crying laughing. He was hysterical. Now, not everyone in the audience found him as funny as Val and I did. It was a tough crowd, I gotta be honest. There's a lot of like older baby boomer people in the crowd, and a lot of the jokes, he was like in his, I want to say probably mid-30s, and it was not the right crowd for those jokes. Gotta be honest, glad my mom didn't go, because I think it would have been way too crude the humor would have been way too crude for her to actually enjoy. There were some things that I think it would have been uncomfortable listening to some of these jokes next to my mom. Let's put it that way. So we did that. Then we went to eat at Eaton Park, which is like the Pittsburgh equivalent to like a Denny's or Shoney's, something. I think that we only have them in Pennsylvania. And that was nice. And we just sat and talked, and it was just such a great time. And haven't seen her in forever, but I'm going to be seeing her next week because she runs this, like, my gosh, I think it's been going on for probably 12 or 13 years now. This is called Girls Gone Shopping, and she does it twice a year, and it's where all these women come together, and it's just grown and grown every year to sell items from their businesses, things that they make, stuff like that. And so I'm going to go help her with that next weekend. And then the following week, we have this like annual let's go out and spend time together before Christmas thing that we do that we didn't get to do last year. So we're doing, so I get to see her like 3 weekends in a row after I haven't seen her in forever, which is wonderful. She's just the best. She's like full on extrovert and I am full on introvert, and she forces me out of my shell. So we had just a fabulous time. So that's what I did yesterday. And like I said, today, Cassidy and I are going out. We are going to go see Encanto at the movie theater. We are going to eat lunch at Red Robin. Then we're going to go do some shopping. I know for sure we're going to hit Barnes & Noble, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and Five Below. That's what I know for sure. Then we'll get Starbucks on the way home. So that's the thing. Okay, let's talk books. Things have gotten a little better since I saw you last, but I've been stitching like crazy, so not as much reading. So books that I did finish. This is definitely going to be the worst reading month that I have this year. Let me just say. All right, but I did finish a couple things in the last 2 weeks. So I read The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and this was a sleeper for me. I didn't know how much I was going to love this. I really, really loved it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, which I was like, didn't expect. And so I'm excited to continue. I think I want to say there's for sure 2, maybe there's 3 books out now. And so this is about a girl who is introduced to this guy because her best friend is marrying his best friend. She's maid of honor. He's the best man. And it's not a hate to love. It's a friendship to love. And I loved it so much. There was some of that like misunderstanding trope in here that that usually would make me give a 4 star, but overall, it was so good. I loved it a lot. And so that was a 5 star. And then I finished How Star Wars Conquered the Universe by Chris Taylor. And this wound up being 3 stars. And here's the thing. There's really like 2 halves of this book. So the first part is really more about George Lucas and his life. And then the second part is really about Star Wars and the franchise and things like that. I really did not enjoy the parts about George Lucas's life. I just didn't really care. I wanted to read about the Star Wars stuff. The Star Wars stuff in here is really, really good. And I learned some really cool things that I did not know before. And so if it had just been the second half, it probably would have been a 4 star. But because there was a first half, it ended up being a 3 star. If you're a true Star Wars fan, you need to read this book because you will learn things that you did not know. All right, then I finished Bonhoeffer, Pastor, Martyr, Prophet, Spy by Eric Metaxas, and this is a gigantic book. It's 608 pages, but if this was like taken down to normal size, because there's lots of small writing, really big pages, it would be well over 1,000 pages. This book was very powerful. Especially the last chapter, I was like crying through the last chapter. It's heavy, but it's also pretty dry. I wound up giving it 4 stars. There's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack. And it came across more dry than I think it could have. So it was good. It was definitely good. I learned a lot. I mean, it was, Nazis, Hitler. They're crazy. Here's what I don't understand as I'm reading this. Like, listen, I know that everybody talks about how charismatic Hitler was, and that's how he got all these followers and stuff, but he was literally like the opposite of Aryan. Okay? We all know at this point that he had Jewish blood. And why anyone listen to him about how, like, the blonde hair, blue eyes, this is the ideal, everybody else is terrible, when he did not embody that ideal himself? How did that work in people's minds? I look at him and I'm like, he's the exact opposite of the ideal that he says everyone needs to be. He should have been, like, he was someone that should have been exterminated based on his own rules. I can't. I am Jewish. I'm ethnically Jewish. I'm 24% Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish. And so, yeah, I have made a point to learn a lot about the Holocaust, and that's just the part that continuously blows my mind. And I just can't wrap my head around. I don't care how charismatic you are, if you don't even meet the ideal of what you are saying, why is anybody listening to you? I just don't get it. All right, so I finished that. And then the last book that I finished is I Am Aspian Woman, The Unique Characteristics, Traits, and Gifts of Adult Females on the Autism Spectrum by Tania A. Marshall. And do you see these stickies? This is a lot of stickies here. A book has never spoken to me personally as much as this has. I became aware of this book because my boss at the time, well, first she had called me into her office one day and she put on this video about females on the autism spectrum, like Aspian females. She's like, I want you to just watch this. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, they're talking about me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're trying to tell me right now. So then she had directed me to these books. There was this one, and then there's one called I'm Aspie Girl, which I also have, because, Cass is on the spectrum. And every single part that's marked here, every sticky, is something that describes a way that I feel currently, or felt growing up, or felt my life. And I've never felt more seen than I did while reading this book. In the back there is like giant lists of the traits of Aspian, and the majority of them are checkmarked for me. So I do not have a formal diagnosis. I will not be getting one. But let's just say it deeply resonates with me, and females on the spectrum are much different than men on the spectrum, which is why it's so underdiagnosed. And in any case, but the other thing I've learned from this is that, like, the areas where I have Cass and I are very different. Very, very different. So that is fantastic. So if you feel like you may identify with it, I would highly recommend this book. If you love any woman on the spectrum, or that you think may be on the spectrum, I would recommend reading this. It's really good. And it's beautiful too. Like, every page has these illustrations. It's such a quick read. I literally read it yesterday. This was on my list of books to read in 2021. It was a gorgeous book. Loved it. All right, so those are the books I finished. I'm going to be finishing Beartown today by Frederick Bachman, and I can tell you this is going to be a 5-star read. I had put off reading this because I had tried to read other Frederick Bachmans that just did not capture my attention at all. But April over at Getting Hugga with It, and I want to say Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand rave about this book. I was like, all right, I like most of what they read, so let me try it out. And the book is infuriating. It makes you feel all the feelings. It's just made me feel every feeling. And it is so, so good. And so it's about a town where hockey is life, and a girl is raped by one of the hockey players, and how that town responds to that. And I yeah, like I said, I'm almost done with this. Loved it. It's definitely 5 stars. It's gonna be 5-star. Okay, other things I'm in the middle of, and we'll finish hopefully before the end of the month, is Life Moves Pretty Fast by Hadley Freeman. This is the lessons we learned from 80s movies and why we don't learn them from movies anymore. I am on page 212 of 339. The Real Lolita, The Kidnapping of Sally Horner, and the Novel That Scandalized the World by Sarah Weinman. I'm enjoying this one a lot. I'm about halfway done with this one. I'm on 134 of 306. And then The Butler's Guide to Running the Home and Other Graces by Stanley Ager and Fiona St. Aubin. I am not very far in this one at all, so we'll see what happens with that. Hoping to get those ones done before the end of the month. We shall see. All right, real quick haul, and then I'll let you guys go because this is a long video, and like I said, Cass and I are going to be going out. So I do have a book, and then I have something else. So, all right, the book that I got, so my poor husband, when he goes to Sam's Club, I was like, can you please FaceTime me from the book section? And he literally does a walkthrough with me on FaceTime so I can see if there's any books I want. And so they had Mitch Albom's new one, which is The Stranger in the Lifeboat. And I have read several quotes that he's put up from this, and the quotes are beautiful. And I love Mitch Albom. His books are so readable, and he's written some of my favorite books of all time, like The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. Love that one. So got that one, and I think that this is going to be my book club pick for my In Real Life book club, and because I picked this next one, so that one will be for February. All right, then the last thing, he was in the section, he's like, I'm like, do they have any, like, what else, what do they have? And he's like, oh, they have this. It's the Office Crochet. Instructions to make 12 of the world's best crochet projects. Includes everything you need to make Jim and Pam, plus the pattern book to make everybody else. So there's the front, the back, the teapot. I mean, come on. He's like, I'm like, I don't want that. I need that. I need that in my life. Because guys, I love The Office. I've got all of The Office, pretty much all of the Funkos up on my shelves. I've watched every season several times. I love it. I love The Office so much. So, okay. I'm sorry, guys. That was so much. This is a long video. There was a lot going on. I just wanted to be real with y'all. So hopefully, I can get my room cleaned up here. I need to tape my TBR for this next month. I've got so many things I need to tape for my floss tube stuff, and then some coloring stuff. So that's all. All right, guys. Cass and I are going to go shopping. We're going to go get lunch and go shopping. So, all right. I'll catch up with you guys later. Have a great week. Bye.